Houston Texans fans, I have been sitting here staring at our roster, and frankly, the tension surrounding this upcoming season is reaching a boiling point. Something just came out today that could genuinely shake up the entire future of this franchise. It is fascinating because while we all expect greatness, the reality behind the curtain suggests the front office is holding back on a move we all thought was a lock. The more this situation develops, the harder it is to ignore the pressure mounting on our star quarterback. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your city below. Let's get into it. Toro time. CJ Stroud finds himself at a career crossroads as he enters his pivotal fourth season with the Houston Texans without the security of a long-term contract extension. Drafted second overall in 2023 and quickly named the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year, Stroud was initially viewed as our franchise savior after a scintillating debut. However, the last 2 years have been a roller coaster of inconsistent production and high-profile struggles, culminating in a 7-turnover nightmare during our most recent playoff loss to Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. Here is where it gets interesting because while teammates like Will Anderson Jr. have already secured massive paydays, management remains hesitant to commit fully to Stroud. During a media session this past Thursday, Stroud addressed the situation with calm professionalism, noting that he leaves the contract talks to his agent and remains focused strictly on his performance on the field. That matters because, let's be real, our defense is already championship caliber under Demeco Ryans, but our offense has stalled out in the divisional round for 3 consecutive years. And honestly, the emotional reaction across H-Town is one of cautious anxiety. We see the potential for greatness, yet we also see the reality of a quarterback who finished 13th in passer rating last season. As Houston Texans fans, we are tired of watching our playoff dreams die early, and the pressure is now squarely on Stroud to prove he is the leader who can finally take us to the promised land. Now here's the thing, Stroud must show better ball security and elevated composure when the lights are brightest if he wants that second contract. He has pledged to learn from these failures quickly, but words only go so far when it is finally Toro time for our quarterback to step up or step aside. As Houston Texans fans, we have watched CJ Stroud go from a historic Offensive Rookie of the Year to a quarterback facing a career crossroads. The backstory here is defined by a sophomore slump behind a porous offensive line that stunted his development, followed by a third season that lacked the elite progression we expected. While Will Anderson Jr. secured his massive extension this past May, Stroud remains in contract limbo. Here is where it gets interesting because his 19th ranked passing production of 3,041 yards and 13th ranked passer rating of 92.9 simply do not scream franchise quarterback in a league where top earners reach higher tiers. And honestly, we cannot ignore the 7-turnover nightmare against Mike Vrabel's New England Patriots in the divisional round that sent us packing yet again. That matters because our front office is currently balancing an elite defense under Demeco Ryans against an offense that has stalled out in the postseason for 3 consecutive years. Let's be real, the organization is looking at this through a cold business lens. They see a defense built for a Super Bowl window that is potentially being held back by erratic play under center. History teaches us that the Texans are historically cautious, but letting a top pick play on an expiring trajectory is a clear message that his job security is tethered to elite poise. Now here's the thing, the team has the pieces to win right now, but they need the man under center to stop the bleeding. We have seen other young stars like those under coaches like Ben Johnson in Chicago or Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota get paid early, so Houston's hesitation is a loud signal about our expectations for 2026. If Stroud wants the bag, he must prove he is the solution to our playoff misery. Toro time. As Houston Texans fans, we find ourselves at a massive crossroads with CJ Stroud entering a critical 4th season without that long-term contract extension. That matters because the organization is clearly signaling that elite defense and Super Bowl aspirations require more than just middle-of-the-pack quarterback play. This uncertainty creates a major ripple effect on our salary cap, as the front office is likely hoarding space for a potential franchise pivot while prioritizing extensions for core stars like Will Anderson Jr. instead. Here is where it gets interesting regarding our roster because the front office is essentially betting that Stroud must prove he can overcome the mental hurdle of his postseason turnover struggles before they commit major capital. Let's be real, this changes our trajectory for every high-stakes matchup on the horizon. When we face Mike Vrabel's disciplined New England Patriots squad or Robert Saleh's new-look Tennessee Titans, Stroud will have to demonstrate a level of composure he has failed to show in the big games. We are no longer just looking to win the division, we are looking for a quarterback who can carry us past the divisional round where we have stalled for 3 straight years. And honestly, the landscape of the AFC has only gotten tougher with coaching changes across the league. Whether it is Kellen Moore in New Orleans or Joe Brady in Buffalo, the margins for error have vanished. If Stroud cannot elevate his decision-making against these defensive-minded rivals, our playoff chances will evaporate just like they did last winter. We need him to lock in, ignore the contract noise, and show that he is the leader we believed he was after his rookie year. It is time to prove that the future remains bright in NRG Stadium. Toro time. On one side, the argument for keeping CJ Stroud as the franchise cornerstone is rooted in his immense raw talent and his status as a former Offensive Rookie of the Year who has shown he can operate at an elite level. We know this team possesses a championship-caliber defense led by Demeco Ryans, and the continuity of keeping a quarterback who has already experienced 3 consecutive divisional round trips is invaluable for a title hunt. But on the other side, the risk is glaring because his regression over the last 2 seasons has been undeniable. With Will Anderson Jr. getting paid while Stroud waits, the organization clearly harbors doubts about his consistency and ball security after that 7-turnover disaster against Mike Vrabel and the Patriots. That matters because other teams like the Vikings, under GM Nolan Teasley and Kevin O'Connell, have shown they are willing to make bold changes when production stalls. League analysts are currently split, with some media pundits suggesting that if Stroud fails to elevate his poise in 2026, the Texans might be forced to join the quarterback carousel alongside teams navigating new regimes like the Bears under Ben Johnson or the Saints under Kellen Moore. Let's be real, his performance is trending in the wrong direction despite the improved offensive line. Here is where it gets interesting, as I believe the skepticism is warranted. Personally, I think Stroud has to prove he can handle the pressure of the playoffs instead of folding under it, because talent alone does not win rings in this league. We need more than just respectable stats to take the next step toward a Super Bowl trophy. Now here is the thing. We are either witnessing a player on the verge of a breakthrough or a guy who has hit his ceiling. It is truly Toro time, and we need our leader to finally deliver. The bigger picture for our franchise is clear because the front office is clearly demanding elite output to match our defensive dominance. We have transitioned from the excitement of a rebuild to a critical window where we must decide if our signal caller is the long-term answer or just a bridge. That matters because while the rest of the league sees coaching shifts like Ben Johnson in Chicago or Mike Vrabel taking over in New England, we are stuck wondering if our championship window is closing. Let's be real, as Houston Texans fans, we should feel anxious but hopeful because we have seen flashes of brilliance even if the consistency has dipped. We cannot be satisfied with middle-of-the-road statistics when we have a Super Bowl-caliber defense led by Demeco Ryans. Here is where it gets interesting, as the front office chose to pay Will Anderson Jr. while leaving our quarterback waiting for his payday. That move signals that the team is ready to move on if the production does not elevate significantly this year. Now, here's the thing. We need to see composure in the playoffs instead of the turnover nightmares that haunted us against the Patriots last season. And honestly, it is time for him to prove he is worth the massive investment, or we will be looking for a new leader soon. The pressure is immense, and every snap this year will define the next half-decade for this organization. Do you believe CJ Stroud will secure a massive contract extension before the 2026 season ends, or is the team already looking at other options for the future? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Toro time. I'll see you in the next one.